Today we took an unfortunate loss, which is sad because I pyramided on this trade, which I don't usually do, and on a non A plus trade because the only thing that would make this A plus is if we waited for a microcycle to be bullish, and that's why we have a paper trade going, which is in the 4 hour PO3. Well, let's review the two trades we did take because coming into New York Open, it really wasn't all that clear because on ES we just didn't have any cracking correlations below. I mean, all that we had going off was the a DC with YM that was really bad. I mean, it was overnight right here with YM. Like this is the only crack correlation we had. New weekly opening gap got traded, passed, and right here is our low in our A cycle, but our low on ESN and Q is our M. So that was really the only daily cycle that we had, and True Day Open is higher. That was obviously the target, but time didn't align until like 10:05 when we swept low of day and we had like three SMTs with ES, and I was already stopped out in that time frame, so I just did not have a chance to enter, and I stopped after that because that was my second trade. So I traded paper because I didn't want to put more risk on the table. So looking at us cycles, I thought it was AMDX for all three cycles, right? Daily AMDX, 90-minute AMDX, and the microcycles obviously AMDX. So what I was thinking was before I realized the 90-minute was going to be XA, and then this was manipulation to send us higher. I thought that 15-minute propulsion block, I'm used to trading just ICT concepts alone without crag correlations, but I do like to have an SMT. I've seen 15-minute propulsion blocks. I've seen this move up. I thought this 15-minute was going to tap. I wasn't going to enter before market open, but in market open, when we tapped and then reswept this, I should have realized that the propulsion block wasn't in play because we traded below CE of this. And first, it was holding because we had an order block at the low of day. Then we had another order block respecting CE of the body, but that got completely broken by this time, really, because we shouldn't have swept that because it did not create a 90-minute. To create a 90-minute, we would have had to sweep low of day, and that would also be it wouldn't be a daily cycle actually because we're in one cycle, but that was the 90-minute that we used to to really take this entire move up to true day open, which we only had a 15-minute retrace to send us up higher, which took a little bit of time, but that's the target. So the direction was right. The trade entry was not A plus, and so therefore it was just the wrong time to enter, and that's why I got stopped out right there for like 42 points is what I was in with six contracts because I pyramided there, and I got a bad entry here. I was really wanting to enter at this tap, but it happened quick, and I was looking for it to come back a little lower, and so I just got in the trade. It was not great, but I could have went break even honestly once because we had a bearish DC, and once this high got taken I could have went break even, but I was looking on the 2 minute and we had an SMT, sorry, we had a fair value, yeah, SMTF with this fair value gap. I thought if I allow this to get swept, because on the 1 minute we had another 1 minute SMTF during that time with ES, which is right here in this gap. So I was willing to hold this in a bit of drawdown, but since I was in more contracts, I don't think I should have done that because even if we do get a retrace to the OTE in our opening range, that's still going to be like where my stop is, right? 0.705, you ideally want to be at 80, which would be all the way down here, and I'm not holding six cons for like 70 points. So I ended up cutting it right there at like 40, what was it, like 42, 43. So that was the first trade. That was a loss. After that, what do we have? We actually had a microcycle with this high on ES. We had an internal microcycle. So that was our 10 a.m. manipulation. I thought that 10 a.m. would continue lower after that. I thought that, okay, we have 10 a.m. OTE, SMT, and SMT at the highs. That was the confirmation short for me. Off of literally the opening candle of 10 a.m. is where I shorted, and I thought it would just continue lower. I decided to take partial here off of one contract out of the three I held on this trade. I wanted to size down a lot because I wasn't trying to make a green day. I was just trying to take back some profit from the market. So I closed at a logical place, low of day. And then I let these two get stopped out. I could have closed it. I could have taken a little bit more off, but I just decided to hold it because it was only two contracts, and I thought it could have been much bigger because at this time I still thought the 90-minute cycle was AMDX, which is accumulation, manipulation, and then we're in distribution, and I thought expansion was gonna send us lower, but it ended up reversing. So I was off after that, and that's my break even stop. And I just really didn't have a chance to close it. I mean, it was like at, I think, like 200 PNL. Like this trade, if I would have closed all contracts at the low, I would have been at a break even day. So once I took off that partial, it was already like a regular losing day. I lost 350 on the day, and I was just floating profits for minimizing that loss. And so I was okay with losing, regular losing day. And so I ended up just holding those to break even. But we had no bullish cracking correlations except for that DC with YM. That's what I noted. And I also noted that I was blinded by price and time and not cracking correlations because cracking correlations give us our safe stop. That's when we know where the bottom of the market is. So there's no reason to enter if we don't have one. I mean, there's just you're just gonna have to hold it until we get a cracking correlation, and crack correlations happen at the low. So if you're at the low, you're probably gonna get swept out and then have to re-enter, or you're just gonna miss out on the trade completely. So one thing I need to mention again is the regular trading hours. We had a regular trading hours SMT. I'm just gonna pull up straight regular trading hours. Once this got swept, and swept twice, so we didn't sweep regular trading hours low twice, and we did it twice on NQ. So because I created a microcycle, technically a doubling microcycle, actually, is it? It was a significant microcycle because it took most of the cycle to complete. It was a quarter one to quarter three, so that was the significant microcycle. Plus, we had a regular trading hour SMT with ES. That's this low. That's that low right here. Just gonna make it blue because I like to make regular trading hours blue. So with that SMT, with a resweep microcycle and 90-minute cycle, you could have entered off of this 30-second. Literally this 30-second right here. Tap. There's probably like a 15-second for value gap. Something. There's like an inversion, a minor inversion, which you could have entered off of, but really you would have entered off of just order block structure on the 30-second. Because we have that CISD, even though there's not a gap there, we use it as a breaker. So we have our high, lower low, which is in significant liquidity, low of day, and then market structure shift to create a higher high internally, and then tapping back into the range of the up leg. So that would have been A plus entry to get under the 10 a.m. price, but let's go to my entry on the paper account. So my idea for this entry was really just get in the lower 4 hour body here. Let me pull up the PO3. I don't know why it's not showing. There it is. All right, so my stop loss was at this body, 10 a.m. price. We can get rid of ES now. So this was the trade I took. I just got in because it was the right time. I didn't really care about this 15-minute, 5-minute need to be tapped because it's paper trading. I just took it for proof of concept. So this was the stop that I would have liked to be at. Really, a better entry would be this low, or possibly even waiting for another true microcycle open to get under the 1030 price in the first presented for value gap with a stop at this low is great because we do have a gap right there, and that's a 2-minute. So entering on that 2-minute would be great. Also entering on this 5-minute tap would be great, and then having a stop below 10 a.m. price, that would be ideal as well for a entry reversal. But yeah, see, we're gonna hit target. But that was just like waiting for the right time. And because 90-minute cycle was XAMD and not AMDX, this is distribution. Since this is distribution, it happens at 10:30, and we were stalling for 10:30 until true microcycle open. I get that. And then we started getting our low resistance liquidity run. But this is how you note how like conditions are not going to be ideal. And so I wrote right here, cycles are not lining up with PA movement. And that's so true. If this is XAMD, then this manipulation is manipulating the high and the low because we had a DC at the high. So it was because of the tight range, because of the PA that we got, it just was not easy to cycle a line for me personally today. And especially the 90-minute cycle had so much importance today. I was wrong on that. And so that was the biggest thing. Daily cycle was easy, or the microcycle accumulation manipulation. I thought this was going to be our manipulation and the 30-minute PO3. It ended up not being, and manipulation ended up really taking in the entirety of distribution. To be honest, like manipulation and distribution were not one because it was just based on this small time frame, uh this time frame for a 30-minute PO3 to really like 10 o'clock. And then we had our expansion, which was like this technically the early start of our distribution because our 90-minute distribution was at 10:30 and our expansion hit the low of day. So that was the point of reversal. But other than that, it was kind of hard to read. Like in any trade, if you held past like past this, you would have got stopped out. Any long, you would have gotten stopped out short. You had to wait for ideally 9:45 to take this short to the low of day, or you had to just wait for the reversal to true day open, which was the trade I wanted to be in from open. I just didn't have the confluences aligned, and so I took the loss because that's just how it goes. You're going to take a loss if you don't take an A plus trade, and you're more likely to take the loss if you don't take an A plus trade. And I should have recognized that and gone break even, but it is what it is. It's a regular losing day. So we're gonna see if we trade tomorrow because honestly, looking at the higher time frame, just take a step back. Looking at the 1 hour, we have a market maker sell model going on. And this is really my target, this weekly cycle, because we have this opening gap that, yeah, we did fill with YM, but still it's a large opening gap. And so I'm looking for these lows, these relative lows. I'm looking for all these to get taken. And I think that might happen Friday if we get a big dump Friday, like we come manipulate buy side and then we start moving lower. But we did hit CE of the week. So for that reason, that's why I took the partial as well, because CE of the week is right there. And you can see on the 1 hour, the bodies are holding above it, which correlates to the day. Like CE of the week is where my stop loss is, basically. So, a little bit of uncertainty, but it is looking like a sell model because we are inversing on the daily. Oh, not anymore. All right, you just got to keep up with price, I guess. So that's going to be it for the video. I really don't care if this hits true day open or not. It probably will. I mean, I know it will. It just depends on how long it's going to take and if it's going to edge the target or not. But that was the trade I took. It really, really wasn't A plus. It was more like B minus, except for like making a trade A plus is just the reversal point and cracking correlation at the bottom. That's how you know you're in the bottom of the market. And I was just trading based on this price supporting, like an order flow trader, bro. Like literally, like trading order flow and trend lines. So deserve the loss, but good thing to manage yourself so you don't lose even more. So that'll conclude the video, and we'll see if we get a trade on Friday. I'll see you guys in the next video.